Just so you know, that's my G&L Manus Recurve 182.7. Now stick around just a minute. Here we go with a longbow. Okay, you can see that, that's 152.2. That's doggone good for a 40-pound longbow, and we'll discuss that in a minute. You might say, so what, Ed? What are you trying to prove? Well, let me show you. My whole intention is not to badmouth, begrudge anybody with their opinion, but you got to understand a lot of stuff on YouTube is opinion. But on a longbow, people says a longbow don't shoot as fast. Most of them don't. Now these longbows here are going to shoot as fast as some production recurves. But biggest difference here, look at this. The string does not touch this limb. This comes out the string notch and on it goes. That in and of itself will make a longbow forgiving to shoot, even a reflex deflex, and that's a mild reflex deflex. All right, now here is a whole different animal. Now you saw this thing shot 183 feet per second. That's what a hunting weight air. But now, notice, and this is a G&L Manus, which they're not made anymore. Well, they could be, because I got all the forms. But when Gene and Larry built this bow for me way back in the early 2000s, we dickered with it, and I had to talk Gene into making the riser, this part right here, a little longer. I had to talk Gene and let me customize the grip, and if you look at this grip, it's a very deep locator, and I don't know if you can tell it on the camera or not, but it's got a palm swell in it, right there. And we whittled. I think Gene was ready to start calling me some bad names with a lot of adjectives with it. But anyway, we got it. It is what it is. Okay, here's the main point. You want a recurve, get you one. But this one is radicalized. When you watch this, when I draw this bow, watch that tip right there. When I draw this bow, it does not unfurl like some other recurves do. And when it unfurls on those recurves, it's part of the power stroke. All right here, because this is almost static. It's not quite static, which means it don't move at all. But it puts the power stroke from the wedge right here, and this part of the limb is when you draw it, that's the part of the limb that's moving. This part don't move and that part don't move. And quite frankly, it's fast. Well, that's great, Ed. It shoots a fast arrow. Yada, yada, yada. Compound guys clapping their hands and going crazy now, okay? Means nothing. And this is my learning over the years. The other thing that you'll see in this bow is Gene built a lot of stress, even in his longbows. You can't tell it on the camera, but I'm going to show you. This bow right here has got a wood on the front, wood on the back, and then there's two more laminations of wood and two laminations of fiberglass. So it's highly stressed. I mean it's a coil spring, okay, waiting to go off. Shoots fast. Hunting, I mean you witness that, okay. Okay, here's the bad side. You notice I've got a pad on each end of this bow for that string to ride in. And I would recommend that with any recurve, that the string has got noticeable amount of contact on the recurve part. Okay, here's the drawbacks on the recurve, especially this recurve. If you make a mistake in your shooting, it magnifies it. And what I mean by that, the biggest one of the biggest troublemakers for people trying to get into trad bow shooting is torquing the string. And I'll notice that sometimes when I'm shooting my longbows, I'll draw that bow and I'm twisting that string. And you kind of got to get away from that. Now my anchor point, and you can see this on some of my other videos, my anchor point is right there. This part of my thumb and all settles right under my cheek. That's my anchor right there. I never come back to the corner on around. It stops right there. And people say, oh, you short going here. Animals hadn't complained. But either way, torquing that string can get you in trouble more so than a longbow, because that string is not on that limb. It's not going to turn to that limb. It never gets on the limb. And a heel style, ASL, whatever, heel style is even more forgiving. Well, Ed, why ain't you shooting one? I like a faster shooting bow. You know, what can I say? But they're great bows. I mean, if that's the only choice I had, I've had heel style bow. I built heel style bow, and they're great. You know, if I built one though, I would build one to keep it from developing string falling. You know, which means when you unstring the bow, it just kind of still looks like it wants to be strung up. But anyway, torquing that string, because you got contact on these points here. All right, the other thing is, I told y'all, me and Gene went round and round about this grill, okay? And if you notice, if you look at that, you got the locator, but I also got a groove here and a palm swell. And the reason that is, and I do this, I got that longbow right there, I cut a locator, but I didn't go very far. It's a semi-heel grip on that bow. But one day it may end up like this. I shoot high risk. Okay, people say, oh. Okay, YouTube is full of opinions. And if it works for you, I'm all for it. Take the bow, and when I taunt the string, that thing settles into my hand where I want it. And then my hand goes down and makes contact with this palm swell. And that keeps me from doing something. Y'all remember when I talked about torquing the string? You can torque the handle too. And this is exaggerated, but you imagine you're holding the bow and you're going to shoot, and you draw, and maybe you're overbowed. This bow here is 63 pounds at my drawing, and you kind of torque that bow a little bit. Well, where's your arrow pointing? Over yonder. So you get to fighting that. And you need to have a grip, or learn to hold your bow, even if it's got a axe handle, Hollywood heel grip. You learn what the magic is in gripping that bow and letting that bow come in, that handle come into the set, your hand and that handle matching up, and that's the only way you're going to take the bow hand torque out of it. Okay, and the string. When I shoot a lower poundage bow, like this longbow we shot a while ago, lighter poundage, like this is 40 pounds at my draw. With it being that light, I have more of a tendency to want to torque that string, and sometimes I draw and I just drop that ring finger off. I mean, when I'm conscious that I'm doing it. Because even with a longbow, as forgiving as it is, it'll booger your shot up sometimes. So, bless the Lord. I'm glad I had a break this afternoon and kind of address these things as they come to me and all that. And let me tell you what, I can't think of not one reason that you shouldn't have a recurve if you want one. I can't think of a reason you not have a longbow if you want one. Heel style, reflex, deflex, it don't matter. The only thing I'm going to tell you is if you got monkey arms, if you shoot a full length shaft, don't go crazy on the poundage. And it's going to be to the arrow tuning. All right, now I'm going to address the arrow tuning. Ed, do you paper tune your broadheads? No. And I'll clip a video of this if I can find it. I shoot full length, it don't matter if it's wood. Now some aluminum comes along and I'll cut them down. But anyhow, my arrow's gonna be 31.5 minimum, okay? That, like on wood shafts, knock, taper, point taper, and that's my arrow, okay? Because I've got a long draw length. Got somebody that's got a little bitty 25, 26 inch draw lane. I'm so envious of them, I don't know what to do. I mean, they can shoot an array of different arrows. But anyhow, you still have to tune that arrow. But the way I tune my arrow, getting back to the point, the way I tune my arrow is I get my arrow shooting field points and it looks good. Put on the broadhead, get one of my broadhead targets, and I back off about 30, 35 yards, get my wife stand behind, set up a camera. We used to didn't have that luxury. And I draw and I shoot. And I watch that arrow fly. And if it doesn't get crazy when it gets to the target and stick in it sideways, if it flies, if all I can see is that little white spot till it gets to the target, I'm good. I'm good. Arrow tuning's over. But now if you want a paper tune, I know a lot of tournaments are still going and some guys will set up on the side of paper thing for you to shoot your broadheads through, especially in August. Well, in Carolina it'll be in July, but August, September time, right before the hunting season comes in, they'll set up and let you paper tune your stuff, and that's great. If you want to do it, do it. But old brother Ed does it right out there, and he's been working for 56 years. Bless the Lord, he's so good to me. All right, slowly, I'm sorry about not getting back, but I'm going to get back to you as I can on some of these questions and answers and all that. And the whole intention is I don't shop for a platform. I look for an opportunity to help people, especially like my little friend here that's learning how. We finally got him. I found him some arrows in shooting his new longbow, so we may pull him back away from his heart for a little while. But anyway, that's it. If you want one of these, get one. If you want one of these, get one. If you want one of each, by all means, have a longbow and a recurve. It's more fun anyhow. Amen. Bless the Lord. Remember, he loves you. And do something for him. Love him back. And let me know how that turns out. See you around.